as she would say, I can't go now, that indicated to you, well, you might have gone before or you might go later.
Yes.
And because of that, the pregnancy was surrounded by these kind of paternity doubt. Were you sleeping with her?
I was sleeping with her.
Were you using protection?
No, Your Honor.
So how do you think you're excluded from possibility?
Like when the baby was born, I was at the hospital and looked at the baby. I said, this ain't my baby.
When you found out you were pregnant with Radiance?
He told me I was pregnant. We was having sex at the time.
That's not true.
And the time we were having sex, I didn't want to finish the act because I didn't want to get pregnant again. He told me it's too late for that because you're already pregnant.
In a jaw-dropping episode of Paternity Court, the stakes are high as Ms. Thompson confronts Mr. Smithby, the man she claims abandoned her and their children. The suspense builds as paternity tests are sought for both Legend and Radiance, while a significant amount of child-rearing expenses hangs in the balance.
Ms. Thompson, you claim Mr. Smithby abandoned you and your children, forcing you to drop out of nursing school and leaving you to struggle as a single mother. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
You've come to court seeking paternity tests for both of your children, Legend and Radiance.
Yes, Your Honor.
Additionally, you are suing the defendant for child-rearing expenses in the amount of $2,000.
Yes, Your Honor.
In a chaotic courtroom exchange, Mr. Smithby and Ms. Thompson clash over their tumultuous past. Allegations of abandoned responsibilities and questionable fatherhood fly back and forth, leaving the audience wondering who will emerge victorious. The tension escalates as their conflicting stories keep everyone on the edge of their seats.
Do you remember having sex with her on those days,
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Smithby?
I do remember having sex at that time, but at the same time, she tried to hide the whole situation, so it was like...
Explain. You said she tried to hide it.
Yes, like...
No, he was hiding me because he had a girlfriend at the time that had a baby in between my two kids. So I wasn't hiding him, he was hiding me.
That's not true. I was in a relationship with someone else at the time.
Right, so
but
you were
at the same
hiding
time,
me.
In a heated exchange, Ms. Thompson and Mr. Smithby confront their troubled relationship and failed attempts at co-parenting. Accusations of infidelity and broken promises add fuel to the fiery confrontation. Their emotional battle over the fate of their child grips the audience, leaving everyone wondering if they can find common ground.
She asked you about having a DNA test at the hospital?
No, she did.
Yes, I did.
And from that moment, once Legend came home, is he in his life, Ms. Thompson?
Not for the past couple of months. They haven't seen him.
And it's not my fault. I haven't seen him. She told me to stop coming around. So if you don't want me to come to your house, I'm not going to come there.
You told him to stop coming around?
Because I don't want to be with him because he don't want to be faithful to me.
In a dramatic turn of events, Mr. Smithby presents compelling evidence to prove that he is not the biological father of Legend. A visual exhibit showcasing shoulder measurements stirs excitement and disbelief among the audience. Ms. Thompson counters the claim, adding to the tension as the truth remains uncertain.
Does he think you're his dad?
He knows that's his
Your Honor, I brought evidence to show you that Legend is not mine.
Oh, I'd like to see that evidence.
And I have evidence that he was there.
Yes, ma'am. Right here, as you can see, this is me right here. This is Legend. As you can see, my family, we have broad shoulders, 44 inches wide.
Your family.
This is my shoulder one, 44 inches wide. My other children, they have 14 inches wide shoulder length. Legend is 8.5 inches wide.
The tension escalates as the question of Legend's true father is raised. Despite Mr. Smithby's claim, Legend refers to him as Dad. Ms. Thompson insists there is someone else involved, adding more intrigue to the situation. As they discuss Radiance's conception, conflicting accounts create further suspense, leaving the audience eager to discover the truth.
Who does he think his father is?
Mr. Smithby. It's his father. That's who he calls Dad.
It is?
Yes.
So he calls you Daddy?
Yes, he does. He does. But at the same time, she has someone else playing.
Who is someone else?
What does he ask for his dad?
But I know Legend is missing him because he also say, I'm gonna tell my daddy on you whenever I do something to him. He's like, I'm gonna tell my daddy. So I know that.
All right, let's move on to Radiance.
In a heart-wrenching moment, Ms. Thompson passionately points out the striking physical similarities between Mr. Smithby and their daughter, Radiance. The tension builds as they examine the evidence, with emotions running high. As they scrutinize Radiance's features, the audience is left in suspense, waiting to see how this revelation will impact the paternity case.
She got your ears, she has your eyes, she has your nose, she has all that. Everything of you she has. Your skin complexion.
It's another cartoon picture, but look, hers is 7.8 inches wide.
Her shoulders look broader
not
than
broad at
shoulders,
all.
so I
she
don't
doesn't
understand.
have broad shoulders at all, so that's why I feel like she's
broad,
shoulder.
not broad, not broad.
Yes.
Oh, she about to cry.
And she got the ears too on this picture.
In a dramatic courtroom revelation, the truth unfolds as Mr. Smithby is confirmed as the father of both Legend and Radiance. The tension reaches its peak as the results are announced, leaving the audience on the edge of their seats. Ms. Thompson's emotional relief and realization add to the intense atmosphere, creating an unforgettable moment on Paternity Court.
Mr. Smithby, you are his father. Mr. Smith Bey, you are the father. I told you I saw the ears. That's all I gotta say. No, really. These are your children. And I can see, Ms. Thompson, that what do you feel, relieved or vindicated?
To be honest, just that I was falling for the wrong person.
Because you fell for a man that doesn't want you.
In a riveting episode of Paternity Court, the explosive case of Coleman versus Coleman unfolds before a captivated audience. With a 7-year marriage on the line, Mr. Coleman accuses his wife of cheating and carrying another man's child. Meanwhile, Ms. Coleman fervently defends her fidelity and hopes for reconciliation. Tensions soar as the truth awaits its dramatic reveal.
Mr. Coleman, you say your 7-year marriage is on the rocks because you claim to have proof your wife cheated and is pregnant by another man. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
You say you will ask for a divorce when the results prove your case.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Coleman, you say you know your husband is your unborn child's father and hope your husband will learn to let your past be your past.
In a powerful and emotional moment on Paternity Court, Ms. Coleman bravely shares her past struggle with addiction and low self-esteem. Despite feeling unworthy, she found comfort in Mr. Coleman's affirmations and stayed by his side. The audience is drawn into this heartfelt revelation, waiting anxiously to see how it unfolds in this gripping case.
You kept her in a safe place
Yes.
so she could be clean.
Yes.
Is that how it happened?
Yes, Your Honor. When I first met him, I was 3 months pregnant, and we were in addiction. Now, being that I didn't want to feel anything and I didn't deem myself worthy of anything, the things that he was saying to me like brought the connection. You know, like he would tell me, you don't have to do what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And I stayed around for—
Mr. Coleman opens up about discovering Ms. Coleman's pregnancy and an STD at the same time. The audience is left in suspense, wondering how this revelation will impact the paternity case. Ms. Coleman admits to her past mistakes and infidelity, adding to the intensity of the moment. The tension rises as the truth unfolds in this gripping episode.
You talk about trust issues. At some point, you realize you're pregnant and it's within the marriage, but there's questions as to the paternity.
Yes.
What's going on then?
And the STD, you know what I'm saying? That's a real big thing. That was a head knocker. Right?
Hold on, I want to understand that. So wait a minute. You find out Ms. Coleman is pregnant, your wife.
The STD at the same time.
And when you find that out, you also find out she contracted an STD.
In a chaotic twist, doubts about paternity have pushed Mr. and Ms. Coleman's marriage to the brink. Addiction, a serious issue they both faced, adds another layer of complexity. Seeking clarity, the court brings in an expert, Dr. Drew Pinsky, renowned for his experience in this area. The audience eagerly awaits his input, anticipating a pivotal moment in the case.
You find out he doubted.
And that was a crazy.
And now the marriage is on the rocks because of
If it's not mine, it's a divorce.
which is addiction. And it's not a game.
You're right.
We know addiction affects not only the parties, but also their families and their children. Because of that, I wanted to call upon an expert that has a lot of experience in this particular subject area. And I'd like to get his input before we proceed.
With emotions running high and the stakes at their peak, the court seeks the expertise of Dr. Drew Pinsky. His advice becomes crucial for the couple's troubled marriage. While couples therapy might be costly, Dr. Drew suggests free 12-step programs. His powerful reminder of the significance of sobriety serves as a turning point in their journey to healing.
I make a commitment every morning not to put one in me and to remain faithful. I've been doing it. I love you.
Dr. Drew, as you can see, the stakes are very high today. Do you have any last pieces of advice?
Yes. Of course, ideally, we'd love them to be into couples therapy, but that's costly. But there's 12-step programs that are free.
In the thrilling case of Coleman versus Coleman, the court stands on the brink of discovering the truth about the unborn child's father. The atmosphere is charged with anticipation, and the audience awaits the moment of truth with bated breath. The stakes are high, and the outcome remains uncertain, adding to the suspense of the proceedings.
Mr. Coleman, you are the father. Congratulations.
Thank you. No more comments, none of that no more.
Can we move forward now?
Yes, ma'am.
We can move forward.
Yes.
I'm glad we could be here for you in this time.
Thank you.
You all have been through a lot. You've overcome a lot.
Amen.
And I hope you heard Dr. Drew when he talked about that this was a lifelong commitment.
In this explosive case of paternity court, tensions run high as Ms. McKenzie accuses Mr. Guy of abandoning their daughter, Nia, and denying her paternity due to his alleged overwhelming number of children. The courtroom is gripped with curiosity as the truth unfolds, and the audience eagerly awaits the revelation that could change everything.
Ms. McKenzie, you say Mr. Guy abandoned you and your daughter, Nia, soon after she was born, and denies he's her father only because he already has too many kids.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Guy, you say you knew this wasn't your child from the moment Ms. McKenzie said she was pregnant. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. McKenzie, when did you first realize that he denied he was your daughter's father?
Well, when I told him that I was pregnant.
Mr. Guy admits to sleeping with Ms. McKenzie without protection, but denies being the father. He claims he knew it from the moment the baby was born. However, Ms. McKenzie points out conflicting statements he made at the hospital. The court is left wondering why Mr. Guy denies this adorable baby, while both parties continue to trade accusations and confrontations.
Were you sleeping with her?
I was sleeping with her.
Were you using protection?
No, Your Honor.
So how do you think you're excluded from possibility?
Like when the baby was born, I was at the hospital and looked at the baby. I said, this ain't my baby.
When we was at the hospital, he said my baby looked like his mom and his grandma. That's what he said.
Did you say that at the hospital, Mr. Guy?
I don't recall saying that.
So why are you denying this beautiful baby? You say you were having an intimate relationship with her. Why are you saying it's someone else?
The courtroom is on edge as Mr. Guy shares his doubts, revealing mysterious encounters with a man at their apartment while he was off work early. He confronts Ms. McKenzie about it, but she denies anyone being there. However, weeks later, the same man is spotted on their couch, deepening the mystery.
Steady messing around.
All right, what is your doubt? What else, Mr. Guy?
One time I was getting off of work. They let me off work at maybe like 6 a.m. and I usually get off at 7. So I pulls up to the house and I looked at my phone, then looked back up and there was a dude standing right there. I'm like, where did he come from? And I said, okay, Wells' apartment. So he might have came out of any one of those apartments.
Ms. McKenzie passionately defends herself, expressing her desire to build a strong family unit and expecting equal effort from Mr. Guy. She yearns for a harmonious relationship with his other children and encourages him to be responsible and get a job instead of getting drunk.
I feel like if we're adults and we live together, we're trying to build a family, you should be doing your part as much as I'm doing my part. If we're a unit, we're a unit. And if he's slacking, I feel like I should have to build him up. If he's slacking, I'm gonna tell you, get it together. If I'm stressing you, it's because I wanna help our family. If you got all these other kids, I don't ever say, like, I'm not mean to his other kids. I wanted my kids to meet his other kids. You know, I want them to be able to play with their brothers and sisters, not grow up dating their brothers and sisters.
Tensions rise as Mr. Guy questions the consistency of Ms. McKenzie's statements, claiming there could be other possibilities. Ms. McKenzie vehemently denies any involvement with someone else and expresses her frustration at Mr. Guy's lack of involvement in their daughter's life.
For the fact that
so what you're saying is you were not sleeping with anyone else?
No,
There's no other possibility?
No.
Mr. Guy?
I think it's a lot of possibilities.
Why do you think there are a lot of possibilities?
Everything she's saying is inconsistent. Because like I said, I was there.
You was not there.
But
no birthdays, no Christmases, nothing.
He hasn't spent Christmas or
nothing.
Birthday?
She don't know who he is.
She doesn't acknowledge him.
Emotions run high as Ms. McKenzie opens up about her anger and regrets in their troubled relationship. She admits to making mistakes, but vehemently denies any infidelity. She desperately yearns for Mr. Guy's presence in their daughter's life and hopes for a genuine gesture on her birthday.
I get so angry at myself. Like, I don't ask him for money. I don't ask him for anything but time. I get so angry at myself because maybe I did make some mistakes in our relationship. Not as far as like sleeping with other people, but being a B, you know, like cussing him out or getting angry because he wasn't doing what he was supposed to for our family. So yes, maybe if I stressed him out, it was because I was angry. And I'm angry at myself that I allowed myself to get pregnant by him when I knew that maybe he wasn't capable of being a father.
The courtroom is filled with suspense as the moment of truth approaches. Mr. Guy and Ms. McKenzie anxiously await the paternity results that could change their lives forever. Emotions run high as Judge Lake reveals the outcome, leaving both parties in shock. The audience is left hanging, eagerly anticipating the next steps and how this revelation will shape their future.
Mr. Guy, you are her father. Now what, Mr. Guy? Speak.
I feel pretty much ashamed. I would like to be a father to her.
So what are you gonna do? Where are we gonna go from here?
Gotta first start by making up time with her, my daughter. And
when's the last time you saw her?
Maybe 2 years ago.
2 years ago?
In this episode of Paternity Court, Mr. Jones and his mother bring Ms. Milan to court, accusing her of deceitfully claiming that their 3-month-old son, Quinnell Jr., is his biological child. They seek DNA results to prove the truth, and Mr. Jones demands reimbursement for expenses incurred.
Mr. Jones, you and your mother are co-plaintiffs who have brought the defendant, Ms. Milan, to court to prove her 3-month-old son, Quinnell Jr., is not your biological child.
Yes, Your Honor.
You claim you took Ms. Milan and her other 6 kids into your home, and now she's trying to take you for a ride by claiming this baby is yours.
In a riveting twist, Ms. Milan reveals that she stopped sleeping with her ex when she began a relationship with Mr. Jones. The tension escalates as Judge Lake questions whether they discuss the potential consequences of unprotected sex. Shockingly, Mr. Jones claims he was told by a doctor that he couldn't have children, adding more layers to the intriguing case.
Once I started sleeping with Mr. Jones, I was no longer sleeping with my ex.
You knew that a likely consequence of having unprotected sex would be that you would become pregnant.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you discuss that with Mr. Jones?
He always said he couldn't have children. Said the doctor told him.
Why'd you say you couldn't have children, Mr. Jones?
Because I used to play sports in school or whatever, so I had to...
In a chaotic revelation, Mr. Jones admits that he left home after an argument with Ms. Milan, only to run into his ex at a bar the very next day. Judge Lake humorously points out that exes always seem to appear in such situations. Ms. Milan accuses Mr. Jones of frequently being with his ex during their relationship.
He left. When I left, I didn't come back home from the bar. You know what I'm saying?
Wait a minute.
What happened
So
was
now...
she ended up going through my phone or whatever like that, and she seen that I ended up conversating with my ex, so they started an argument. So I left that day, and when I left, I went to a bar with my friends or whatever like that. My ex so happened to appear there.
He didn't leave.
Appear.
He left the prior.
Mr. Jones reveals that when he learned Ms. Milan had stopped taking her birth control, he took action and gave his son condoms. The uncertainty about the child's paternity lingers, and Mr. Jones emphasizes his commitment to be there for his child regardless of the results. He expresses his determination to create memories and be a present father.
I found out she stopped taking the birth control. The first thing I done was I gave my son some condoms because she has 6 kids already and I know she's fertile. Use them.
Did you use them, Mr. Jones?
No.
No.
When you found out she was pregnant, even though she said it could be yours or it could be my ex's, did you step up?
Yes, ma'am.
You did?
Yes, ma'am. I wanted to make sure. I wanted to make sure if it was a possibility of being my child.
In an emotional plea, Ms. Milan shares her hopes and fears about the paternity of her son. She prays that the child belongs to Mr. Jones, who has been there for her and the baby from the beginning. Mr. Jones's dedication is evident, even though he hasn't yet signed the birth certificate.
You did sleep with both men during the window of conception.
Yes, I did.
And so, Ms. Milan, what are your hopes for today?
I'm praying, like when I first found out, and I was like, God, please don't let this be, you know, my ex-child, even to the point where I was like, I'm gonna give it up for adoption if I could just know off the muscle that it was his, you know. But I put it in God's hands, and I was like, I told Mr. Jones.
In an emotional turn of events, the court reaches the crucial moment when the paternity test results are about to be revealed. Both Mr. Jones and Ms. Milan anxiously wait for the truth to be unveiled, with their emotions running high. The tension in the room is palpable as everyone holds their breath, awaiting the life-changing verdict.
Mr. Jones, you are not the father. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry. I didn't know. Yeah,
you okay, Mr. Jones?
I'm ready to go.
I'm sorry. I hope you will find comfort in knowing that you did the right thing. You may have gotten wrong or right in the relationship with Ms. Milan. You did right